Hi, welcome to a demo of the CI/CD pipeline of luroConnect. Um, so luroConnect hosting platform comes with the CI/CD pipeline. You can deploy your Magento or even PWS Studio code using the pipeline. We'll just do a quick demo of the the pipeline for just Magento. Um, in luroConnect, we split the build action from the deploy action. So you do a build, you have an artifact, and then that artifact can be deployed by selecting it in this pull down, right? Um, just before we start and give a demo, let's just go through one very brief presentation, right? So we have split the build and the production system. We can do better from compared to what's documented in the uh, Magento Dev Docs, which talks about a build system. It says that you can do a git clone, you can do a compile, but doesn't talk about static content. We also do static content deploy, and then we package the release, and the release is then sent over to the production or the staging system. And when you select the deployment option, we unpackage the release, we change the web route, and if needed, we put the site in maintenance and run setup upgrade. We run setup upgrade with the keep generated flag. That makes sure that that the generated and the var view preprocessed folders are not deleted. And then we reload the PHP FPM. So basically, like you do a build, it generates an artifact, you move the artifact to production or staging, you select the artifact, and then you do a deployment. When you do a deployment, we unpackage the release and go through these steps. And that's what gives us the zero downtime. Um, if you run setup upgrade, which is a choice you make when you're doing deployment, and if you made a change in a module version, that's when you will need to have the setup upgrade run. Otherwise, let's say you just change a HTML file, you don't need to run setup upgrade. So let's get back to the demo. So you to do a build either for the staging of the production, you click the corresponding build button, right? And it starts the build. So it starts with doing a git clone on an empty folder, right? And then running, uh, you know, composer validate, right? So we run composer validate to make sure that the composer lock is in sync with composer JSON. We also depend on app etc config.php to decide what to compile. So after the composer is run, which for example it is running right now, we have a composer cache. So the composer doesn't always download all the content. And then after the composer install has been done, it will then run compile, and the compile will take the modules from app.etc config.php. Mind you, this build doesn't have a database. So when a static either compile is done, it depends on app.etc config.php. Um, Before static content deploy is done, we would have already captured your theme information and kept it with us, okay, in the code, perhaps in app.etc config.php. And then when we do a static content deploy, the theme information is actually picked up locally from within files rather than the database. And at the end of it, a package is made, which is a .tar.gz with the version number, and it is sent across to the production system to be ready to be deployed. So here we've already done a build. Actually, there's only one build, and the system has already been deployed with this build. But I'll just select that build and I'll run a deploy to show what happens, right? And here you can see that the it's basically it said it's the same release. All it did was reload to the PHP, right? And it got out, right? So obviously the code has been deployed and the site is up and running, right? Okay. So if you need to make changes yourself, you can give us your public key and we will install it onto our Git. We'll give you access to the dev system where the Git has already been cloned out, and you can actually make a change, commit your change, and actually see your change in action, right? Thanks a lot for listening into this demo.